Hey there, everybody. Today I'd like to talk about that point in my life at which I took an interest in Bill Leeb. Now, if you're new to this conversation, I did create a playlist called the JodyVision, so you can go back and catch up on my conversation. Now, this all started out with me sharing about a paranormal anomaly that I've discovered in my life, and it's called parallel dimensional time travel. It's where you go when you go into the visionary state. Now, if you're a paranormal researcher, you might want to listen to my story and look it over from beginning to end. So I'm not really done yet. Like I feel like I'm really just getting to the end of the first segment where I started to, put this all together. So now up until this point, I've been sharing that I've been going in a visionary state between the age of 6 and 12, and that's where I was introduced to a little boy named Billy, who's supposed to be Bill Leeb, but is really kind of like that movie Contact. Not really Billy, he's an alien, so who knows. So that's a very questionable part of my journey is who am I talking to in the visionary state. Anyways, what makes these visions prophetic is that they started in 1982, and that's a time at which we should have had no way of knowing who Bill Leeb is. We're living down in the Florida Keys, and I'm pretty sure he was living in Vancouver, Canada, and so we didn't have any connections there. And the first time we ever heard of Frontline Assembly was for some reason my dad was inclined to write to Bushido in 1987 because they were like my favorite band. And when they wrote back, they not only said that they'd like to help me get into the music business, they also recommended Frontline Assembly to us. And somehow that did kind of ring a bell. I kind of have good long-term memory, but sometimes I doubt my memory. So it's like that always kind of rung a bell with me. But the thing is this is kind of like more my dad's music. He's the one that's been following industrial music and following electronic underground, and so he was already listening to stuff like Front 242 and a lot of those European bands. So when I heard Frontline Assembly, I thought they sounded like kind of like another one of those bands, and it's something that I've always liked Frontline Assembly, but it took longer for them to grow on me than my dad. Like he was the one that's like, oh, I love this band. It's like if I ever met Bill Leeb, I could hug this guy. It's like. And he was really enjoying watching the unfoldment of Bill's career. It's almost like Gary Livermore kind of had us rooting for him, and so anyways, so we made that contact there, and I did see Billy a couple more times, and I still wasn't making the connection quite yet. So I talked about in previous videos that I met him over at my boyfriend Juan's house, and so he wanted to take me aside and have some privacy. And I wasn't able. I was like 11 going on 12, and I wasn't able to have sex. So what he thought I should do instead would be to suck his dick, and he said that's what you need to do to get into the music business. And after that visit, I was kind of like frazzled, like I gotta get the hell out of here. Like I wasn't sure what just happened. It was kind of overwhelming, and I was trying to get out and walking off the back porch, and that's when Billy was chasing me out, going, "You need to be on your best behavior. You can't tell anyone what we're doing. We're trying to get you in the music business." And that's where I kind of made a slight connection there with that letter and that contact with that record company. So that summer was a big summer. That's when I had eye surgery. I was born cross-eyed. I was going wall-eyed. They had to put me under. And then I joined Taekwondo, which is a big event in my life. That's when I started to do my martial arts training. However, you might find Taekwondo is kind of one of the sillier martial arts that are out there. That's where I started. And then when I started back in 6th grade, I was really having a bad time in school, and I met Billy one more time, and he went over tried to make love to me again. He took me, I told you that whole story. Anyways, he reminded me again, he's going to be the famous rock star known as Bill Leeb. He wanted me to remember who he is no matter what I do. So the very last time I seen him, please do not forget who I am, blah, 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 blah. So it's always been kind of drilled in me, don't forget who I am. That's the last time I seen him as a little kid. And then the last time I seen him in my visions in the Florida Keys, I seen him on a Navy base, and at Taekwondo class, he was an adult. He looked like he did, at that era when he had the undercut and the dark hair and the leather jacket. So he had that look. And so anyways, 1987 was a big year. That's when I started my martial arts. And that Christmas, I felt like my dad was trying to help start my music training, or at least encourage it, because he bought me a nice stack of tapes and a little Casio concert mate. So I had, he realized that New Order and Cabaret Voltaire and Kraftwerk were like my 3 top favorite bands, and And so I was listening to all that stuff, and New Order just sort of became my favorite band at that point. I've always liked them, but then I just sort of fell in love with them, and I was just all about New Order for, about the next 6 years of my life. And so I was really thinking about New Order a lot, and I was thinking about getting into the music business, and we ended up moving over to the neighborhood where I met Billy and my vision. So I would end up going past his house quite a bit and thinking, I sure wish I kind of missed him. I was really hoping I'd meet him again. I was really missing Billy because he's the only kid I knew that seemed to know anything about electronic music. And he was saying, he wanted to marry me and have me play in a band with him someday. So all that, I kind of remembered him for that, but I still wasn't quite making a connection. I was kind of thinking he could. I thought he said Frontline Assembly, but I'm not sure. It just seems like Billy's too young to be that same guy. So I definitely missed him. I kind of wanted someone to come and be a New Order fan with me, and somebody to come and be a Cabaret Voltaire fan with me, and make electronic music with me, because I wasn't finding people at school, and my friends all thought I had bad taste in music. Like, I'd let them hear either New Order or Cabaret Voltaire, and they'd be like, ew, this is gross. Like, they hated my music. Like, you listen to weird music, Jody, blah, blah, blah. So I was so missing Billy. And so the thing is I was, Frontline Assembly was growing on me more and more. One night I was listening to Frontline Assembly in my room, and my dad comes back and he's like, you know who that is, right? That's Bill Leeb. And I'm just thinking, I don't care who everybody is in the bands I listen to. I just feel like my dad's trying to train me to be a better fan and be a better music collector, because you should know who's in the band and know a little bit about their background and this and that. But I think maybe what he was really implying is that, don't you remember Billy? Don't you remember? And so I did kind of start thinking about that. And then the tape that I had at the time, you open up the sleeve, and there's a picture of Bill Leeb in there. He's got the dark hair, the undercut, and he's got on the mirrored aviator glasses and the leather jacket. And I'm just thinking, he just seems like such a scary guy. Like, if that's Billy, he's like a scary guy. He looks, like a gang member or a drug dealer or something. I just didn't think, this is somebody that I'd be, attracted to or interested in meeting at the time. It just, Bill Leeb just kind of reminds me of, my dad's really pissed off and he's about to like smack one of us in the face or some shit. Like, this is not, the kind of person, that I want to be my boyfriend, especially if he's almost 20 years older than me. So I was just still kind of wondering what's wrong with my memory, and anyways, eventually, 1993 is the year that, when I was 18 years old. So, at that point, that's when I took an interest in Bill Leeb, just because, my dad came back to my room with that magazine that had a picture of him on the front. I think it was Sideline Magazine, and said, hey, isn't that your little friend from down the street, and again, I think that was a visionary slip, because I don't think he said that. I don't think he remembers. I'm pretty sure I ran it by him, and he didn't say that, but, I read the magazine, and I thought, I really wish this was Billy, because I like this person, and, but they can't be the same person. I could tell looking at the picture that Bill was probably in his 30s by now, and Billy was only like 2 years older than me. So like, the Billy I remembered, he had that mixed blonde or dirty blonde hair. So anyways, I have this picture I set aside that I cut out from that magazine. Now I think the magazine was falling apart, and I just happened to have this really nice frame. And so that's the moment when I took an interest in Bill Leeb, when I got that magazine and I started putting it together, and I realized, well, it just seemed like it was real life, like it wasn't just a dream. So I think I had read up that you can go into visionary state and it seems just like reality. So I did realize at that point that maybe it was just a vision. Like, I thought I had this little friend all these years, and maybe it was just a vision, but I still felt like, hey, maybe I should write him or contact him or do something to get a hold of him. Maybe, I'm having this vision because it means I should contact them. Now, I found a sketch I made a couple years ago when Billy was 8 going on 9, and in that very first vision where we met, and he kind of actually that second vision where he personally filled me in. And in that vision, that's when Billy insisted on getting a hug. Now, I just happen to have this nice picture of Bill from when I met them in 2007 on their tour with Frontline Assembly. That's what Billy's hair looked like. See, he's kind of got the darker roots, and then it's pretty and shiny. So Bill looks very nice in that picture. I think he looks great in that picture. I think I look like a freaking dork in that picture, but I'm going to share a little bit about this picture later, you guys. Right now I'm in the process of packing up all my things and putting them in storage, so I figured this would be a good time to go through my stories and share my pictures and tell you what's been going on here. So the reason I'm sharing this story is Bill Leeb's been kind of a part of my life in a weird kind of way, and I really enjoy talking about this part of my life when it comes to like the visionary state experiences. I really enjoy sharing it because it's exciting, it's like, wow, so I'm really excited that this possibility in nature can happen. The visions themselves are kind of harmless and fun to think about, but the problem is I feel bad about bringing Bill Leeb into my conversations. I feel like that's brought a lot of negativity into my life where and a lot of misunderstandings, and it's kind of ruined, it's kind of made the friendships and relationships that I have a little harder, because I feel that a lot of people place doubt on me, think maybe I'm crazy, like something's wrong with me and I'm doing something wrong. So I'd really like to share out my stories just to give clarity and understanding. Like, so before, if you didn't understand what was going on, neither did I, but like right now my life's been kind of normal and I haven't been having all this weird stuff going on. So I feel like it's kind of safe to talk about in hindsight and share my experience. Now, I just want people to see that it took a lot of things to make me interested in Bill Leeb, and that this is something that's out of my hands where, there might be something wrong with me, like brain damage or maybe post-traumatic stress or something like that. And not everybody responds to stress the same way, but if you're a little bit clairvoyant, maybe you respond to it the way I do. And so, it was almost like I was brainwashed into thinking Bill Leeb was my old friend. I was constantly being told, don't forget who he is. And there's all kinds of cute little coincidences. Like we moved to the FLA Keys. And back in the day, the abbreviation was FLA for Florida. So we moved to the FLA Keys. And that's where I met Bill Leeb of FLA. And now, or later in life, I was really hoping to play keys for FLA. Maybe I'm a little more impartial now. I'm like, okay, if we make friends, we do. Like, I really look forward to making friends with Bill Leeb someday. And like, if I ever get to join Frontline Assembly or not, I'm not really worried about it. But at some point, I was definitely serious about that. I really wanted to look into it. And so there's always been this this idea of getting me into the music business from ever since I was like 5. My parents said, we want to make you a rock star or something. My dad wrote to Bushido. Kind of seeing Bill Leeb in my visions, and somebody saying, you see that guy, he wants to get you into the music business. So maybe all these things are trying to tell me I should get into the music business, even though it's much later in life. It's still not too late. I could live to be 100 years old if I don't get COVID or get run over. So you guys, it took a lot of things to make me interested in Bill Leeb, so it didn't happen overnight. And again, if you've ever seen the movie Contact, it's not really your dad, it's the alien. So in my visions, it's not really Bill, it's the alien. And so, yeah, again, if you're a paranormal researcher, this is a colorful subject to look over, but at the same time, I'm sharing a lot about my personal life. So again, I apologize if you don't like me talking about these things, but I'm interested in clearing the past and creating clarity and coming to terms with all of my friends and family who have been through this with me, and with Bill Leeb. And so anyways, this is kind of where I come to the end of this segment, where most of my visions, like in Key West, that's where I went into visionary state, and I was being introduced to Billy. But later on, I was going into visionary state and I was being reminded about Billy. So anyways, it's a long story and it might take me until next year to finish telling this. So I guys hope you bear with me. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope this brings insight and clarity. By all means, you guys take care. Have a great day.